In 1818, two brothers opened a shop on the corner of Catherine and Cherry Streets in Manhattan. They called it H&D Brooks & Company. That shop dressed Abraham Lincoln on the night he was assassinated. In 2020, the company that bore their name filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Today, what you buy under that label is not what those brothers built. 6 menswear brands are charging you heritage prices for global mass production. And 6 brands, several of them cheaper, are still doing what those names used to mean. Several of you have asked for a brand-wide breakdown in the comments. We start with the brand that dressed 40 US presidents because what they built is not what they sell you anymore. Number 1. Brooks Brothers. Let me be clear before we begin. Brooks Brothers is not on this list because they are pretenders. They are the original American clothier. Founded in 1818, the first ready-to-wear suit in America came from their workrooms. The button-down collar, the rep tie, the #1 sack suit. Every American menswear convention you take for granted was codified inside that company. Brooks Brothers is on this list because what those brothers built is not what they sell you anymore. The current 1818 Fitzgerald suit retails for $1,298. It is manufactured in Thailand or Vietnam, depending on the production run. The shirts that defined American Oxford cloth are now sewn primarily in Malaysia. After the 2020 bankruptcy, Authentic Brands Group and Spark Group acquired the label. The Garland, North Carolina factory that produced their suits for decades was shut down. The Haverhill, Massachusetts tie factory closed. The Long Island shirt factory closed. At $2,300, you are paying for 2 centuries of American history. The garment in the bag was assembled on a different continent by people who have no connection to that history. This is not anger. It is arithmetic. Number 2. Burberry. The trench coat was patented by Thomas Burberry in 1879. Gabardine fabric, his invention. The coat was issued to British officers in the trenches of the First World War. That is where the name comes from. The Burberry Heritage Trench retails for $2,490. It is still made in Castleford, England, and that one product remains genuine. But walk past the trench rack and the rest of the store tells a different story. A Burberry polo retails for $390. Made in Turkey or Portugal. A Burberry t-shirt retails for $390. Made in Italy or Portugal from standard cotton jersey, indistinguishable from a $40 garment. A Burberry check shirt retails for $590s. Made in Italy from poplin, no different from what Charles Tyrwhitt sells for $89s. The check pattern is doing the work. That tan, black, red, and white plaid was registered as a trademark, and Burberry charges you for the right to wear it. At $590, you are not buying construction. You are buying the privilege of advertising a 19th century British surname on your chest. At that same $590, you could buy a Drake's London Oxford cloth shirt, made in Somerset, England, by a company that exists only to make shirts and ties properly. Same price, opposite product. Number 3. Armani, specifically Emporio Armani and Armani Exchange, the 2 diffusion lines where the volume actually lives. Giorgio Armani built one of the most respected tailoring houses in modern menswear. The Borgo 21 line, made in Italy, is genuine Italian construction at a luxury price. That is not what we are talking about. An Emporio Armani polo retails for $245. Manufacturing in China, Vietnam, Bulgaria, depending on the run. An Armani Exchange polo retails for $80. Same factories, thinner fabric, identical construction logic. The eagle logo on the chest does the entire job. That logo is the asset Armani monetizes across these diffusion lines, and the polo underneath the logo is mass-market construction at heritage tailoring prices. At $245, you could buy a Sunspell Riviera polo, made in Long Eaton, Nottinghamshire. Long staple Supima cotton, the same shirt Daniel Craig wore stepping out of the water in Casino Royale. Same price tier. One is sewn in a 165-year-old English mill. The other is sewn in a Vietnamese contract factory. The eagle is not a quality marker. It is a brand tax collected at the till. Number 4. Hugo Boss. We covered Hugo Boss in our polo video, and the same pattern holds across the catalog. A Boss dress shirt retails between $158 and $228. Manufacturing in Turkey, Bulgaria, India. Standard 2-ply cotton poplin. Standard fused interlining at the collar and cuffs, which is the cheap construction method that delaminates and bubbles after enough wash cycles. A Boss suit retails between $895 and $1,295s. The mid-tier suits are half canvas. The lower-tier suits are fully fused. Fused construction is glued, not stitched, and the adhesive fails. A fused jacket has a useful life of 3 to 7 years before the chest bubbles and the collar rolls wrong. The man who buys a Boss suit thinks he is buying German engineering for the boardroom. He is buying a fused or half-fused jacket sewn in Turkey with a German fashion house label inside the lining. At $100 and $200, you are inside suit supply territory. Full canvas construction, hand-stitched horsehair interlining, Italian fabric from named mills like Vitale Barberis Canonico. Same price. One is engineered to last 15 years, the other is engineered to last 5. The label tells you nothing the construction does not contradict. Number 5. Tommy Hilfiger. Tommy Hilfiger sits inside PVH Corporation, the same publicly traded conglomerate that owns Calvin Klein and Van Heusen. This is not a designer's atelier. It is a brand portfolio managed for shareholder returns. A Tommy Hilfiger Oxford shirt retails for $79.50. Manufacturing in China, Vietnam, Bangladesh. Standard cotton poplin, single needle stitching at the cheaper specifications, double needle nowhere it counts. A Tommy Hilfiger suit retails between $4.95 and $6.95. Fully fused construction. The red, white, and blue flag is the asset. It signals American preppy heritage, country club weekends, sailing imagery the brand has cultivated for 40 years. The garment underneath has no relationship to any of that imagery. It is globally sourced mass-market construction with a flag stitched on the chest. At $80 you can buy a Spear and Mackay Oxford. Canadian pattern making, manufactured in well-audited factories, with construction details that genuinely exceed the Hilfiger garment at the same price. The flag is not a quality marker. It is a lifestyle tax collected on every garment that leaves a factory in Bangladesh. Number 6. Diesel. The same logic extends across every category they sell. A Diesel t-shirt retails for $98. A Diesel hoodie retails for $245. A Diesel leather jacket retails for $1,195. The Italian mystique is the entire product. Most Diesel garments are manufactured in Tunisia, Morocco, Bangladesh, with final labeling and small finishing operations in Italy when needed to qualify for the Made in Italy tag. The corporate cost structure is documented. A pair of Diesel jeans costs $10 to $18 to manufacture and retails for $225. The markup is roughly 15-fold. The same logic applies to the rest of the line. The brand is selling perception, not material. At any of these price points, you can buy fully Italian-made garments from companies whose entire business model is Italian manufacturing without the marketing premium. The Made in Italy aura is doing all the work, and the work is worth less than the price tag suggests. Before we continue, you need to know what separates a quality garment from a marketing garment, because the difference is not visible on a hanger, but it is obvious once you know where to look. 3 tests apply across every category in this video. Test 1. Country of origin and the specificity of that origin. A label that says Made in Italy tells you the garment was finished in Italy. A label that names the mill, the town, the factory, that tells you the garment was actually built there. Suit Supply names the mill on the product page. Sunspell names the town. Vagueness on a label is information. Test 2. Construction method, not appearance. On a suit, the test is canvas versus fusing. Pinch the fabric between the outer shell and the lining at the chest. If it moves freely as 3 layers, it is canvas. If it feels glued, it is fused. On a shirt, the test is the collar and cuff interlining. Fused collars bubble after 15 washes. Sewn collars stay flat for years. On a jacket, the test is the leather. Full-grain leather has visible pores and slight irregularities. Bonded or corrected leather looks too uniform. Test 3. Stitches per inch. Turn the garment inside out. Count the stitches across 1 inch of seam. 8 to 10 stitches per inch is industrial mass production. 12 to 14 stitches per inch is quality. 16 and above is hand-finished or single-needle bespoke construction. The inside of any garment tells you the truth the outside is designed to hide. If this kind of breakdown is useful to you, subscribe. Every video on this channel follows the same formula. Real construction data, real price comparisons, no brand deals, no sponsorships, 6 logos, 6 stories that outgrew the product underneath them. But this is not a channel about what is wrong with menswear. It is about what still works. 6 brands that put the money into the garment, not the story. Number 1. Drake's London. Founded in 1977 by Michael Drake. Originally a tie and scarf maker, now a full menswear house. Their ties are made in their own haberdashery in Somerset, England. Their shirts are made in Chard, Somerset, in the same county. Their tailoring is cut by Italian and English makers they name openly. A Drake's Oxford shirt retails for $2.45. Single needle tailoring at the side seams. Sewn collar interlining, not fused. Mother of pearl buttons, not plastic. The same shirt sold by Burberry would cost $590 and would be made in Italy or Portugal from standard poplin. Drake's customers are not buying a logo. There is no embroidered logo on a Drake's shirt. The customer is buying construction and English heritage that is still actually English. At this price tier, Drake's is the standard against which every other shirt should be measured. Number 2. Crockett & Jones, Northampton, England. Founded in 1879, family-owned across 5 generations. Every shoe is built using Goodyear welt construction over the course of 8 weeks per pair. A Crockett & Jones Coniston boot retails for $810. The shoe can be resoled 3 to 4 times over a lifetime at roughly $200 per resole. Over 20 years of ownership, the cost per wear approaches $20 per year. Compare that to an Allen Edmonds shoe at $400 today. After Caleres acquired Allen Edmonds in 2016, the construction quality dropped, the leather quality dropped, and the risole quality from their own service dropped. The Crockett & Jones shoe was made in 2024 to the same standard as the shoe made in 1924. That continuity is the product. James Bond wore Crockett & Jones in Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. The wardrobe department selected them not for marketing reasons, but because they survive on camera under conditions a fashion shoe would not. Number 3. Ironheart. Founded in 2003 by Shinichi Haraki, a Japanese denim obsessive who built the brand around a single philosophy: make work clothes that survive work. A pair of Ironheart 21-ounce jeans retails for $300. The denim is woven on vintage shuttle looms in Okayama, Japan. The weight is nearly double the weight of standard mass-market denim. Independent 4-year wear tests show no significant fraying or seam failure where conventional 12-ounce denim has already broken down. The lifespan multiplier is 5 to 10 times against mall-grade jeans. At $300, the math is straightforward. A pair of $80 mall jeans replaced every year for 10 years costs you $800. A pair of Ironheart jeans worn for the same 10 years costs you $300 with patina that mall denim cannot produce. Ironheart does not market this. They simply make the heaviest denim sold to consumers and let the fabric do the work. Number 4. Filson, Seattle, Washington. Founded in 1897. The Mackinac Cruiser jacket was patented in 1914 and the pattern has not changed. A Filson tin cloth jacket retails for $395. The tin cloth fabric is densely woven cotton canvas saturated with paraffin wax. The wax barrier resists water and abrasion the way modern synthetics try to and fail. The critical detail is what Filson does after the sale. Their Seattle factory still operates a rewaxing service. Send the jacket in. They reapply wax to the original fabric. The jacket comes back ready for another decade. There are documented cases of 20-year-old Filson jackets returning to the factory and going back out to their owners restored. Compare this to the disposable economics of fashion outerwear, where the jacket is designed to be replaced after 3 seasons. Filson sells the same jacket your grandfather might have worn, and they will fix it when it wears. Number 5. Schott NYC. Founded in 1913. The Perfecto leather jacket was designed in 1928, the first motorcycle jacket with a zip front. A Schott Perfecto retails between $850 and $1 to $100. Manufactured in their own factory in Union, New Jersey. Hand-cut from full-grain hides, selected by inspectors who reject the hides with surface flaws. Compare that to a fashion leather jacket at the same price tier. Most are made from corrected grain or split leather, the inferior layers of the hide finished with a polymer coating that cracks within a few years. The Schott customer is buying full-grain American manufacture at a price where the competition is selling polymer-coated split leather at the same dollar figure. The cost per year math runs the same direction as everything else on this side of the list. A Perfecto bought in 1990 still works today. A fashion leather jacket bought in 2020 is already failing. Number 6. Spear & Mackay, Toronto, Canada. Founded in 2010. The youngest brand on this list. They earned this position because they solved the same problem Luca Filoni solved on the Italian side. The problem is that quality construction has been priced out of the entry tier through layered retail markups. Spear & Mackay built a direct-to-consumer model. They cut out the wholesale layer, the department store layer, and the brand licensing layer. A Spear & Mackay full canvas suit retails for $698. Italian fabric from named mills. Full canvas construction with hand-stitched horsehair. The same construction at Brooks Brothers or Hugo Boss costs $1,200 to $2,500. The same construction at Italian fashion houses costs $2,500 to $4,000. Same construction, same fabric tier, a third of the price. Spear & Mackay proves that quality construction does not require a heritage name. It requires direct distribution and an honest pattern-making team. At this price, the math speaks for itself. 6 logos that outgrew the garments underneath them. 6 factories that never forgot what the garment was for. The pattern is now consistent across every category we have covered on this channel. Suits, shoes, polos, jeans, and now the broader menswear field. Heritage names selling globally manufactured product at heritage prices, and smaller focused makers delivering the construction those names abandoned a generation ago. The test is simple. Read the country of origin. Pinch the fabric. Count the stitches. Pull the garment inside out. The inside of any piece of clothing tells you everything the logo on the outside is designed to distract you from. If you own garments over $200 that have lasted more than 10 years, drop the brand and the year you bought it in the comments. The real test of any garment is how it looks at year 10, not at week 1. Help the next man know which ones survive that test. Subscribe if you have not. Every video on this channel follows the money, not the marketing.